Before we get into the interview, I just wanted to say a couple things about the 5 policy analysis steps in relation to my topic. My topic is how to make streets safer for pedestrians and bikers, just in general. And the policy that I'm going to be examining is the Vision Zero policy that is used overseas. That would potentially make the suburban areas in America much safer. So the issue identification, first step, is that our streets are unsafe for pedestrians and bikers. If you've never biked down 11th or down Kagi before, it's pretty scary. There's almost no bike lane on Kagi. It's like so tiny. And down 11th when it's snowy can be really dangerous. So those are some concerns with the issue identification. Our stakeholders primarily are pedestrians, and also people that own cars, and also people that sell cars, local businesses that need cars to be able to get access to them. Those are going to be all of our stakeholders. The objective would be to allow pedestrians and bikers to be able to get where they need to go, feel safe, and also have cars still be able to do what they need to do as well without having a massively high fatality rate like we currently have as far as pedestrians and bikers go. Step 3, policy strategy and effects. Andrea talks a lot about that in our interview. My interview ended up being 20 minutes long, so that's why I'm kind of rushing through these to just give you a gist before I give you the meat of the interview. Policy strategy and policy implementation is what we focused on in the interview, and I'm probably just going to show you a couple of clips from 2 questions I asked. So you'll get to see those, and then after that you'll get to see the alternative policy. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for meeting with me today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so my main topic is basically how to increase safety on the road for bikers and pedestrians, specifically how to slowing down cars and just improving roads in general. And so my first question is, what do you think are the main causes of the road being unsafe towards pedestrians and bikers?
The kind of main concern has been congestion, and specifically car congestion. Those are a couple of factors, sort of lane widths, block lengths, and speed limits. All of those things are kind of part of that car mobility, vehicle throughput orientation. And then speed limits are just a huge part of threat to pedestrians and bicyclists. So it's a non-linear kind of relationship. As vehicle speed increases, the kind of risk of a serious injury or fatality goes up. And I'm not sure if I'm using quite the right mathematical terms. It's non-linear, and it might be sort of exponential for at least a certain period of time. So I think the difference between like 20 and 40 miles per hour is huge. So maybe I'll just try and be succinct there. And those are a few things that come to mind of sort of root causes around like what's characteristic in the US of what kind of can make things dangerous.
For sure. So what is a practical approach in public policy that you think would be able to combat those dangers such as congestion and to
Oh, yeah, great question. So, big picture wise, kind of, relating to that big framing that historic framing I gave you is sort of a different strategic vision and goal for our national transportation policy. And I think we've actually seen a little bit of recent progress. Secretary Pete Buttigieg and I think January 27th of this year released the National Roadway Safety Strategy, and really kind of for the first time adopted some of the language of the Vision Zero movement, and it was, I think, kind of seen as a real establishment recognition that we should not just sort of be tolerant of ever increasing pedestrian and bicyclist fatalities. Like we should actually set some goals to around reducing serious fatalities and injuries, especially for non-occupants, vehicle occupants.
I've heard a lot about the Vision Zero policies and also like the complete streets way of organizing a road. And I was just wondering what your opinion on those were and what do you think are better ways to contribute to road infrastructure to make it more friendly?
I think they're both really helpful, and get at that idea of like, are we planning for cars or are we planning for people? Are we, and when we plan for cars, we tend to plan for speed of cars, mobility through our communities. I think sort of complete streets is a maybe a tool. If I kind of tried to connect the dots, it's sort of like a very important set of practices to help achieve that vision. That might be kind of how I think about they're related, but they're both very much related to providing safe and dignified experiences for everyone, regardless of whether you're in a car or not. And that hasn't always been the case in much of the US for much of our kind of recent history.
My alternative policy proposal to this issue that we have going on would be to implement something like Vision Zero here in the US, as long as we could get everyone on the same page of having just like people not driving as fast, people being able to bike on the side of the road without being scared they're going to get hit, wide bike lanes, sidewalks, all of that good stuff. And making that kind of a standard for when people are constructing roads or when people are remodeling roads, instead of just adding an extra lane, maybe just condense it more and add more ways for people to be able to travel rather than just cars. Because it's better for the environment, it's better for the people of the city, it's better for health. And yeah, so that would be my suggestion.